Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barber, and with me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
We're avid football fans. We watch football on Saturday and Sunday, and this is our review of the Eagles-Chiefs game. What are some of your initial thoughts?
This was ugly, and the offenses looked terrible.
Yeah. I have my first note here is that the Eagles out-chiefed the Chiefs in this game, because this is what the Chiefs looked like last year for the Eagles. Like, really good defense, don't turn it over on offense, get just enough at a time where you need it. And so they out-chiefed the Chiefs and were able to do it, and it's a big win for them.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to say it. I mean, there was just not a whole lot going on offensively in this game for either team. And Kansas City, essentially half of their rush game, again, is Patrick Mahomes scrambling.
Yeah.
They had, 120-ish yards rushing, and 660 of it or something?
66 was Mahomes, yeah. Out of 121, so more than half.
So I have a note here saying the Chiefs' offense, given that they're, you could make the excuse Worthy's out and Rashid Rice is out, and it would look totally different with them, which is a fair argument. We don't actually know what it's going to look like when they're back. But as right now, missing those players, I said the offense can be boiled down to run for minimal gain, check down pass, Mahomes scramble for first down, repeat. And then, but the key point here, somewhere in the game, hit a bomb for a touchdown.
Yes.
And that's their offense.
Yeah. No, and it's really becoming apparent how they've always said this about the NFL, like the margin of victory, or like the margin between like a team that loses all the time, that wins all the time, is actually very small. And this is the first time that I think you can really see it. Like the Chiefs, this is the same, very similar team to last year. Really good defense, do just enough on offense to do it, but just minus one or two pieces, the wide receiver. The other one, like Kelce's a good receiver, other than that one play, which we'll get to. Hollywood Brown looked amazing last week. He had another 5 catches for 30 yards this week. But it's just having a few less people, and it's just not quite there compared to last year, and I don't know why. I mean, most people are attributing it to the missing the wide receivers, but it's just Mahomes hasn't been as sharp as he was last year. I don't think the defense is still good, but they're 0-2 now, and they've got a big game next week where both teams really need that first win, and that's going to be a tough one.
I think there's still problems with the Chiefs' offensive line. They clearly cannot run block at all, and their pass protections leaves quite a bit to be desired too. Now, okay, all of this is with the caveat that these are probably the 2 best defenses in the NFL.
Yes.
So there's not you can't expect much out of these offenses because these defenses are that good. It doesn't even matter who's on the other side of the field against these 2 teams. Mm-hmm. It's going to turn into a rock fight almost every single time. Mm-hmm. But boy, I think to your point, both teams just got exposed for being limited against a good defense, and that's what we saw here.
I will say, as a fan, like as an average fan watching it, I never felt like the Eagles offense didn't look as bad as the Chiefs offense did. That was just the feeling I had. The Eagles had less yards, and and Hurts completed less passes. But Barkley still looked really good. It looked like they were still controlling what they needed to do, running it. And the Eagles are, really thankful that they never banned the tush push, right? Because that was a major factor in this game that they ran several times with success.
All right, let's linger on that point. I think the tush push is going to have to be reviewed for no other reason than first of all, I saw a video of it up close in slow motion, and the guards are both false starting on every tush push.
Yeah.
So that's right out of the gates. That's just an illegal play that just shouldn't even be happening if the guards are false starting. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure everyone's seen this on social media. If you haven't, just look at the close up, and they fire off the ball way early. And then the defense is lined up in the neutral zone where the helmets are literally crisscrossing.
Yes.
And so the refs have utterly given up on calling this play legitimately. Otherwise, every single time it's lined up, it's offside by the defense. Mm-hmm. But then the refs would be like, all right, just first down. So I think they don't want to do that. But then they just let the false start happen. I think they've given. It's a bad look that it's super clear, especially with how good everyone is with like memeing things on social media. Mm-hmm. This play is essentially illegal on both teams' sides every single time.
Yeah. And the other part that I don't like is that all those points are really good. The other part I don't like as an average fan is that because it's just a mass of humanity in the middle, it requires a review like most of the time, because then you're just sitting there trying to sort out like between 27 pairs of arms and legs, like did the ball advance a yard and stuff, which is there's just, I hate as a fan, I hate all the delays with the game. So
yeah. And even if you take away the push part, if this is how they run a sneak where they fire off the ball early and the other team's lined up in the neutral zone, that still has to be dealt with, because all of that is not within the rules of the game. So push or not, this, I think, is the competition committee needs to look at this and say, okay, like, we're kind of letting them get away with whatever they want on this play.
No, and then the only other thing that I had in line for notes for this game was that the kicking game's super important. We talked about this on a previous show in the Cowboys game. If you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to that one. But it's the Philadelphia was 2 for 2 kicking, and Kansas City was 1 for 2, and they lost by 3 points, right? So that feels even bigger. The other thing, special shout out to the punter for Philly, Braden Mann, who had 5 punts for 274 yards. It's almost 3 football fields worth of punting he did. So in a game with such limited offense, when your field position's so critical, that guy deserves a special shout out for how much almost 3 fields of field position that he kicked in the game.
It's a 3-part game, Dover.
Yes,
you got to play all 3 parts.
Yeah, you do.
And Bill Belichick would be proud. If you look at the box score here, it's almost identical. They're within like a yard of each other rushing. Passing, the Chiefs have them by a bit. But in general, like the same amount of first downs, I think the time of possession, everything was like really, really similar.
Yeah.
And to your point, in a game like this where points are really hard to come by, especially because the defenses are so good, a mistake or a missed field goal, that's it. That's the game.
Yeah.
And this whole game turned on the interception. That's that was gonna be a touchdown.
Yes, and for it to be that point swing from like instead of being up 7 points to like not getting those 7 points, and to have the guy run it back over 40 yards, like with the field position game, was huge. But just to refer to your point there about how even it was, the Eagles 16 first down, Chiefs 17. The total plays, Eagles 58, total plays, Chiefs 57. Total yards, you're right, it was 216 for the Eagles, 294 for the Chiefs, more because that was mostly more of the passing yards. But it's the total drives, 10 for the Eagles, 9 for the Chiefs. Like it was very
what was
even.
It rushing, like 122 to 121 or something like that? Whatever it was, it's close.
122 to 121. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so it's the rushing was super close. The penalties, 6 for 48 yards, 6 for 45 yards. So very similar. So the only thing was different was the one missed field goal and then that one key turnover. And it looked like a brutal turnover. Like to hit him in the hands, to ricochet off the chest, and then have the other guy pick it up is a really rough way to go.
Yeah, I mean, dropping the pass or not catching it is one thing. If you kind of spike it into the ground, it's anything like that. But it ends up ricocheting up into the air, and it's just sitting there floating for Mukuba to pick it up, and they convert that into a touchdown, don't they? That's actually a 14-point swing.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Eventually,
yeah. So and that's on the goal line. I mean, turnovers are terrible everywhere, but a turnover on the goal line is just brutal.
Yeah, so it's the fourth quarter. The Kansas City they had a 14-play drive, 74 yards, and then they had the interception, and that's when Philly was up 13-10. So that could have been 17-13 Kansas City, but instead Philly gets the ball, 10 plays, 59 yards, score a touchdown, make it 20-10.
And that's the ugly pushes constantly at the end of that one, right?
Yeah. So that's a 14-point swing, like you said. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So this is the more even contest I think most people thought was going to happen in the Super Bowl last year versus what they actually got. But so now that's 2 losses for KC to start this season. Did they only have 2 losses all last year? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so. 15-2.
15-2. So they've already matched last year's loss total. And we've said this, and everyone said this. This isn't profound. Most commentators thought, okay, some of those games the ball's going to bounce the other way. Like, they were winning games improbably last year on like block kicks and weird things at the end of game, like whatever happened in that Raiders game. Like it just weird things. Just they won a bunch of games where it really could have gone the other way, and perhaps that's just what happened here. It's a kind of a coin flippy game. they ended up with the big turnover that the Eagles could have had, right? And then that's it. The turning point was a missed field goal and a brutal interception.
Yeah. No, and it's really, again, we've talked about this on previous shows. It wasn't that long ago where Kansas City's offense was really dynamic, and you could make a couple mistakes, and you could, your Mahomes was magic and would really make stuff happen. And so it's really jarring to see how different it is now and how much trouble, like how they can't overcome a mistake like they used to, and things aren't going to get better for the Chiefs. So the next game is at the Giants, who are also 0-2, and they desperately need a win just as much as Kansas City does. And that's going to be not an easy one, I don't think, on the road, as what you would have thought after week 1. And then Kansas City hosts Baltimore. So like 0-4 is possible. And then that's going to be really, really hard to make the playoffs at that point.
Yeah, and so now the last point I'll make about the Kansas City offense, with it being like rush for no yards, check down for 3 yards, Mahomes scramble for a first down, then somewhere in the game, bomb. When they have to do it, those bombs seem to always hit. And I kind of had that thought after they hit that one big one. Why don't they just start doing this more often? And then I'm thinking the fundamental rule on defense is no one, with the safeties, last line defense, no one behind you, yet there's always, I still don't understand at this level how someone always gets behind the defense. And Mahomes can throw at the length of the field. So that's always on the table for this team, no matter who's playing wide receiver. If they just send somebody, maybe they just don't believe he can throw it that far. Like, there's a few guys in the NFL that can kind of do that maybe surprises them. Like, really, he's going to throw it that far? But it seems like when they need one, they can hit one. And I thought, okay, just do that way more often. Like, why are you waiting till the desperation moments of the game to do that? Because maybe I'm just projecting here, but it seems like they can at least convert a couple of those.
Yeah.
But they wait too long to get to it, and they still stubbornly think the offense is going to work within structure, or this BS attempt at running. It's just never going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he just can't admit that that's all he's got is just go for broke and just throw bombs. But that's the only effective thing this offense had.
I know, it is a little surprising. I mean, again, I think their game plan was similar to last year, which is like really good defense, just do enough on offense to win it, then you're going to win like lots of close games like this. But this starting 0-2, this feels different than last year. The game plan isn't going according to plans that did before. And I think you're right. I think it's like he's got a cannon of an arm, and they have personnel that can go deep. So it is a little surprising they haven't done that more.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, and the other thing you could say is, when Kelce shows up, that's the other half of the offense. And really, the offense is Mahomes scrambling and Kelce. That's like a huge portion of the offense. So if Kelce has a bad day or even a bad play, it's almost impossible to recover from.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, the Eagles, I bet you the critics are going to come out saying this passing game's not good. Just remember last season, mid-season, and everyone's like, he's not it. He scrambled. And these are Eagles fans talking on our little channel here. We had a little group of them saying, no, he's not it. He can't run. He can't pass the ball. This just isn't it. And are they going to need Barkley to have another 2,000-yard historic season to get to the Super Bowl again? Like, that's an improbable thing. So I could picture this year those same critics coming out of the woodwork, almost wanting to be validated that Hurts actually isn't good at passing. And even though these are Eagles fans, somewhere in there, I think they want to believe they're right, that Hurts still isn't the guy.
Yeah.
I can see that coming.
No, and you had last year, that was really the feeling, like they had all the complaints there, middle of the season, but they were still doing fine, and they win games like in it. And I get it. Like, you would, as a fan, you would love it for someone to be like throwing it around 400 yards, but just like we talked about in the Wilson one in the Giants Cowboys review, that didn't necessarily mean you're going to win the game either, so all Philly does is win. Their defense is still really good. They don't make mistakes on offense, and that's a good way to win games. And Hurts manages that offense very, very well. So, I mean, it's the only other thing I'll say about the Chiefs too. They're 0-2 now, and either the Chargers or the Raiders are going to be 2-0 after tonight. You're going to that game, so that's going to be good. So tune in later for Barbin's key takes on the game in person. But it's it's 2 games in. You don't want to freak out too much about it, but like they've got an uphill climb already in their division.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing about the aesthetics of both of these teams, it's keying still on the Eagles fans being upset about the passing game. I get the sense that fans don't want their team to win ugly. They want it to look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to look like the Chiefs when there's Tyreek Hill was there. And it's just, oh, we got a good defense and we have this overwhelming offense. But even though the Chiefs could win Super Bowls kind of ugly, I don't think fans want that. There's almost like an aesthetic, and they only accept being like the dominant team, but with a particular aesthetic. Like if and I don't think the coaches give a shit. I don't think they care at all if either Hurts or Mahomes have to run for half the yard. As long as you win, you just win.
Just wins.
Because at this point, either of these teams just finding a way to win doesn't mean they're limited. To me, it means that's how that game had to go. And so they just went how the game had to go.
Yeah.
Because you'd never say, well, Mahomes is not a good enough quarterback, so he just scrambles. No, he read it. There's nothing there. All that was left was scrambling. So he just understands how limited the offense is. Same with the Eagles. That offense right now looks pretty limited, at least against defenses this good. So they just do what it takes to win. So it's ugly, and maybe fans don't like winning ugly. But do you want to? I'm sure you don't want what happened in the Cowboys-Giants game, because that doesn't feel good.
No, I think you're right. I think it is the aesthetics. Unfortunately, is something that people like. It's a TV product at the end of the day. Was what football is, and they want to enjoy watching it. But yeah, all the Eagles do is win. That's all they've done the last season and going into this season. So if you're an Eagles fan, you're pretty happy you'll take winning.
Yeah, they might be this year's version of last year's Chiefs, where they just win ugly all the way through the season. And Eagles fans, you just take that, because that's still a recipe to get to and win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
All right. I don't know. You got anything else? I think that's all we got for this one. All right. Well, let us know what you think in the comments. And also, if you're still with us, we appreciate you being here. We know our channel's small, so we appreciate you taking the time. And if you do like what we got going on, we'd super appreciate a like, a subscribe, and or even share it with somebody who you think would like what we got going on. All right. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.